We're doing this for your own sake.
You're mine now, little girl.
5 years after we married, we became each other's greatest enemies. He hated me for driving my sister away and scheming my way into becoming his wife.
I was right all along. The saying that sisters are alike is a lie, and you are just a counterfeit.
I hated him for always treating me as a stand-in, never once acknowledging me in front of the world.
I don't have a wife.
My lack of status brought humiliation to my vain parents, and from that moment on, their love for me turned into hatred.
You'll never measure up to your sister. Never!
In the end, he and my parents left me behind on a snowy mountain while celebrating Christmas with my sister. In the bitter cold, I died together with the child I never got to meet. Meanwhile, my sister basked in everyone's love and had the happiest Christmas of her life. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my sister returned from abroad. This time, I would not beg Gideon or my parents to lover me ever again.
Evelyn, come back, now!
I'm back.
Mrs. Quinn, congratulations, you're 3 months pregnant.
As I sat across from the family doctor, not a flicker of emotion crossed my face, not even a hint of joy. The doctor, who was clearly excited, reached for the phone to call Gideon Wade, but I took it straight from his hand. There's no need to do so. The nurses exchanged confused looks, not understanding what I meant. With my status as the Don's wife, this child would be the family's glory. They did not understand why I wanted to keep my pregnancy hidden. They had no idea that if anyone found out, this child would die with me just like in my past life. Fortunately, I was reborn and returned to the very day I found out I was pregnant, which was also the very day my sister came back home. The one my family doted of, the one my husband adored. The one who made my life a waking nightmare. But this time, I'm not the same girl from my last life. Bella, I'm back.
Dad, you're so smart. I didn't even think of that.
Bella, I'm back. All at once, it hit me. This was the very same scene that had played out on this day in my previous life. After my younger sister came back, everything in this house changed to suit her. Even the passcode was changed to her birthday. I thought for a moment, then entered 0604. The door opened smoothly. I gave a bitter smile and was about to step inside when a thick stack of papers hit me right in the face. Sign the divorce papers. My mother's voice was ice cold. I calmly wiped the blood from my forehead, then held out my hand. Give me a pen. That was all it took to silence the room. My sister was the first to respond. She sneered. That was fast. Evelyn, don't you dare try anything sneaky.
Well, she knows what she's doing. If Bella hadn't gone abroad, do you really think she would become the Don's wife? The moment Gideon heard Bella was coming back, he sent a private jet and a dozen bodyguards to bring her home.
Evelyn is being cooperative because she's probably just trying to save herself some dignity. After all, choosing to leave is better than getting thrown out.
Dad, you're so smart. I didn't even think of that.
My parents laughed. They doted on her, brushing her nose as their eyes filled with affection. I stood aside like an outsider in my own home. Bella shot me a smug look, but I ignored her. Instead, I picked up the papers from the floor and signed my name without hesitation. He's yours. I don't want him anymore. You're just throwing him away? She snatched the papers from my hands. You really are decisive, huh? Of course. I would not make the same mistake again. Without another word, I turned to head upstairs. Get Gideon's signature for me. I'm not going to bring it up myself. Wouldn't want him to think I'm scheming or desperate. You have 3 days to finalize the divorce. Then get out of this house and out of Gideon's life. No need for 3 days. I'm leaving now. I longed to leave this loveless family and the man who made my life a living hell. I took the papers and went upstairs. Behind me, my parents were already helping Bella get ready. After all, the party meant to welcome her home was about to begin. It was a party organized entirely by Gideon. Even after being reborn, I could not forget how seriously he had taken it in my past life. He had personally chosen every detail, down to the flowers in the vases. That powerful man actually went to such lengths for a woman. It was from that event that everyone in the family finally understood why he had never acknowledged me as his wife. It was because the woman he truly loved was someone else. Now, she had returned. The real lady of the house had returned. A faint, bitter smile crossed my face as I dragged the empty suitcase behind me and walked toward the door. The moment I pushed open the door, I ran right into Gideon. It was clear he had dressed with care. He glanced down at my plain dress and the suitcase in my hand.
You'd leave me?
Yes. He would hold me close in his arms, calling my name and comforting me. Before I could answer, Bella hurried down the stairs and clutched my arm.
Evelyn, why can't you just accept me? I just want to visit Mom and Dad. Do you really have to throw a tantrum and try to run away?
Run away?
Gideon's cold laugh cut through the air.
Evelyn, I didn't know you had such a temper.
With just one look from him, his men swiftly snatched my suitcase and tossed it aside.
It's Bella's party today. As her sister, you're not going anywhere. Go get changed. Don't embarrass Bella with this pathetic look.
I stood still, my fingers digging into my palms. Before my sister came back, Gideon had never been warm, but he was at least respectful. Sometimes, when people mocked me for being his unacknowledged wife, he would hold me close in his arms, calling my name and comforting me.
Evelyn, don't be upset. It doesn't matter what others think. You have my love. That's enough.
That man who claimed to love me forgot me the moment my sister returned. But luckily, I don't want him anymore either. Do you still remember what you said to me before? I never thought it would come to this. Him calling me unworthy. Noticing I had not moved, Bella immediately added, "Gideon, don't be so harsh with her. She's still your wife." He paused for a second, then looked at me. When he saw my expressionless face, his face hardened again.
What are you waiting for? Do you want me to help you change?
I lowered my head. All my words were stuck in my throat. Then I took out the papers and handed them to him. Bella's expression shifted instantly. She clearly did not expect me to bring them out now. Before she could say anything, I said, "The hospital bill from today. I need your signature."
Are you sick?
Just a routine checkup. He nodded and signed without even glancing at the papers. I slipped the signed divorce papers into my bag and walked upstairs without looking back.
Gideon, why are you so cold to her? She's still your wife!
His voice came quieter, but it pierced through the silence of the house.
She's not worthy.
Those 3 words made me stop in my track. My whole body suddenly felt drained of strength. I had asked him so many times before why he refused to announce our marriage.
I don't want you to get hurt. You know how many people out there want me dead. Being my wife is like living with a gun pointed at your head every day.
I never thought it would come to this. Him calling me unworthy. My heart felt crushed underfoot, and every breath was like a needle piercing my chest. I wiped away my tears, glanced at the small swell of my belly, and smiled. If I was not worthy, then I would not bother him anymore. After all, this would be the last time we ever saw each other. Gideon, I really regret saving you back then. Look, I did not pay them any mind. I simply stayed in the corner, tasting the food. When I was pushed downstairs by the bodyguards, I found the guests already surrounding Bella. She was wearing a limited edition white dress, looking every bit the innocent woman among these mafia men. Gideon stood by the window, swirling a glass of red wine as he gazed at her with a tender look. I did not pay them any mind. I simply stayed in the corner, tasting the food.
Hi, may I ask who you are? You're way too pretty to be standing here alone. Would you honor me with a dance?
She's my elder sister, Evelyn.
Nice to meet you. I'm Zarek.
The moment he said his name, Bella's smile disappeared. Zarek Shane was a man of high status. His name carried as much weight as Gideon's. A hint of jealousy flashed across Bella's eyes before she deliberately turned toward Gideon.
Wow, Evelyn, I guess some people really do have all the luck. You barely got here and already charmed such a great guy. I'm really jealous.
Gideon's gaze shifted to me, his brows slightly frunged.
This is Bella's party, not a place for you to toy with men.
Toy with men? The absurdity of it almost made me laugh. I had not done anything, yet with just one sentence from Bella, I was branded guilty.
Mr. Wade, don't you think that's a bit too much? This lady hasn't done anything.
Everyone fell silent without realizing it, waiting to watch the showdown between the two great families. Gideon's lips curved into a faint next second. The muzzle was pressed rest to Zarek's forehead.
Is he your lover?
Everyone gasped in shock. They all knew of Gideon's reputation. He had clawed his way up from the bottom. He was ruthless and unrelenting. I felt a flash of anger at Gideon's outrageous behavior.
Gideon, stop it.
Bella's panicked voice cut through the air.
Gideon, please don't! She's my sister!
Her words might have sounded like she was defending me, but her tone was full of excitement and laced with ridicule. It felt like she was mocking me for the man who had slept beside me for 5. He took a few steps closer. His voice was low, yet I could hear a warning beneath it.
Enjoy the party quietly, or I'll punish you right here. Play nice, huh?
Then, he turned around and walked back into the crowd with Bella's hand nestled perfectly in his. The party came alive again as though nothing had happened. Everyone's eyes lingered on their clasped hands. They were curious about what was going on between them.
Bella, what's your relationship with the Don? He seems to adore you.
So the rumors are true. The Don never took an interest in women before because he already has one.
Looks like she's the future Mrs. Wade. We'd better stay on her good side.
My parents stood proudly in the center of the crowd, beaming with pride at their younger daughter. After that humiliation, they started resenting me more and more. Gideon was smiling, seemingly enjoying every bit of the gossip and whispers. I watched them, bathing in starlight and adoration, just as a sharp pain shot through my abdomen. My legs gave out, and I collapsed to the side.
Are you all right?
I was clutching my stomach in pain as sweat came pouring down. I reached for his hand.
I'm sorry. Could you please get me to a hospital?
I thought the cramps were faint. But the moment I got into the car, darkness swallowed me whole.
Evelyn!
When I woke up again, the only person by my side was Zarek, the man I had just met. My phone lit up.
Who told you to leave? Do you have any idea how worried Bella is about you? Evelyn, you're being ridiculous. Be back in 1 hour. If you're not, I'll have someone bring you back. You know what I'm capable of.
As the screen dimmed, another wave of pain rippled through my stomach. Zarek noticed me frown and reached for the call button. I stopped him immediately. I pulled back the blanket and forced myself to stand. Thank you for tonight. I should go. He caught my arm.
No. The doctor said you need to rest.
I don't need to.
Evelyn!
His hand clamped around my chin with bruising force as he said in a cold voice,
Who said you could leave? If anything happens to Bella, you're dead.
What are you talking about? Bella? What happened to her? Zarek tried to step forward, but Gideon's men blocked him instantly. Zarek barked impatiently.
She just experienced massive blood loss. You can't treat her like this. Massive blood loss?
What did you just say?
Gideon froze for a moment. His gaze shifted to Zarek. Then he let out a cold, bitter laugh.
Looks to me you were on a little date.
That's too much!
He squeezed harder, and pain shot through my jaw. I thought it might shatter. Zarek lunged toward us, but he was outnumbered. I struggled against Gideon's grip, but he slammed me down, the weight of him crushing my chest. Agony tore through my abdomen. I could barely breathe.
Doctor, get me a doctor.
I could barely steady myself against Gideon when, out of nowhere, my parents came rushing toward us.
You monster! Bella told us everything! She said you called her from the hospital and said you were in trouble. She left her party to come find you, and now she's been in a car crash!
Bella is such a kind girl, and this is how you repay her? You were just sneaking around with your lover! How dare you claim to be ill?
I stood frozen, staring at them in disbelief.
What did you just say?
What am I saying?
Isn't it obvious? You're jealous of how well Gideon treats Bella, so you deliberately set out to get revenge. But did you ever stop to think that she's your biological sister?
How could we have a daughter like you? You're downright vicious!
Lock her in the dungeon. Keep her there until Bella wakes up so she can reflect on her sins.
I didn't. I'm really sick. I didn't sneak out with anyone.
Of course. I know you didn't.
Gideon looked down with authority.
Evelyn, you're the woman who would die for me. How could you ever cheat?
He turned to Zarok, scorn blazing in his eyes.
You only got close to him to spite me. You can play your games, but how dare you deceive Bella?
My parents cried even louder when they heard that. It was as though their younger daughter were dying right then and there. Gideon's fists tightened. He turned to look at his men.
What are you waiting for? Lock her up!
His men moved toward me at once.
Boss, the car accident wasn't planned, and our checks show that Mrs. Wade did experience heavy bleeding.
I'm a doctor. Let me help you.
And now, you've joined her in lying to me. Heavy bleeding? Do you think I'm a fool? That bullet is a warning. If it happens again, the next one will hit your heart.
When I woke up again, it was pitch black. It was so dark that I could not see my own hand. I put my hand over my belly and forced a bitter smile, unsure whether my baby's heart was still beating.
Gideon, how could you lock Evelyn up? It's my fault for running that light. That's why I got hit. I'm okay.
Bela, it's not your fault. She lied to you.
Evelyn just panicked. She thinks I'm a threat to her position.
But I wouldn't do that. She's my sister. Why would I ever try to steal her man? Even if the man is the best man in the world. Through the crack in the cell door, I watched Gideon hold her in his arms as he patted the top of her head. Gideon, what am I to you? It all happened more easily than I expected.
Don't say that. I've never forgotten you. If you hadn't left, I never would have married her. The only reason she got all that she did is because she reminds me a little of you.
Even though I had learned of Gideon's true feelings in my previous life, hearing it so plainly now made my eyes burn. Gideon had not always been the fearsome Don. Once he had been a shy boy. He was always dropping by our house, playing with me and my sister. Back then, I could see that he liked my sister, but my sister had no interest in him. When she grew up, she left to study abroad, determined to meet richer people. After she left, Gideon was despondent for a while, but he kept having dinner with me as before. I thought he had forgotten her. I thought his heart finally belonged to me. Hence, when my parents pushed me to find a way to marry Gideon once he became the most powerful Don, I was overjoyed. It all happened more easily than I expected. He pursued me, and we married. I believed we would have a happy future. Yet, all that awaited me was 5 years of a concealed, loveless marriage. Memories of humiliation surged through me. I covered my face and sobbed. Perhaps Gideon heard me.
I overdid it! Now Gideon actually thinks I'm worried about you!
He was about to loosen his grip when Bella threw arms around his neck and kissed him. Gideon froze for a moment, then held her tightly. The kiss was unbearably tender. After a long while, he slowly let her go. She leaned into him, her tone carrying a hidden implication. Gideon, when she wakes, how will you tell her about us? Maybe you should just get a divorce. He was silent for a beat, then pushed Bella away gently.
No rush. Evelyn loves me. If I bring up a divorce now, she might go crazy.
What if she accepts it? Aren't you the one who doesn't like—
Bella responded on instinct. Gideon cut her off.
Enough. I will decide on this. She's your sister. You don't want her to have a breakdown and cause trouble, do you?
Before Bella could argue, one of his subordinates hurried over and whispered in Gideon's ear.
What a mess.
And left in a hurry. As Bella watched him leave from behind, the smile vanished from her face, replaced by thick, cold hatred. The moment Gideon slipped away, she kicked my cell basin.
Don't play dumb! I know you're awake! Damn it! I overdid it! Now Gideon actually thinks I'm worried about you!
I let out a long breath. She stormed into the cell and saw my expressionless face. Feeling proud yet? I'll tell you something. You're not married to him anymore. I have ways to make him ditch you. My parents emerged from the shadows.
Don't worry, Bella. We'll play along. Your sister has always wanted to hurt you. It's only natural that we favor you.
We were wrong to pin our hopes on this useless girl for all those years. She's brought us nothing but shame. She slid an arm through Bella's and cooed, Bella, you've got to keep it up. When you become the Don's wife, no one would dare to cross us. Their laughter only grew, and my parents crowded Bella into the center as they moved farther down the corridor. In the end, a heavy and suffocating silence reclaimed the hallway. I pulled my phone from my pocket with trembling hands, right as a friend request popped up from an unfamiliar account. It was Zarek. I let out a long breath. I was not the type to bother others. However, the only person who could possibly stand up to Gideon's power was Zarek. I accepted the request and typed with shaking fingers. I need a private jet destination, Denomia.
Anyone who lies to me doesn't live to regret it.
The moment I hung up the phone, footsteps echoed from the corridor.
What are you doing? What's the rush? You think I'd confiscate your phone? Evelyn, I know you're planning to run, but without my permission, not even a fly can get in or out of this place. My advice? Have your food and behave.
There was the usual arrogance in his tone, the same cold confidence that made him feared as a Don. Gideon, why are you doing this to me?
If you hadn't forced Bella to study abroad, she never would have left me. And if she hadn't left, you never would have had the chance to worm your way in. Evelyn, you've been lying to me from the very beginning!
Anyone who lies to me doesn't live to regret it. You should be grateful I've spared you this long.
So that was it. That was why Gideon hated me so much. It was because he had been living in my sister's lies all along. Gideon, you've been fooled. He left, and the cell sank back into silence. 1,000 words crowded in my throat, but I did not say a thing. Gideon was not a fool. Cunning. The kind of man who ruled empires. The only reason he fell for my sister's trap was because he was in love with her. There was nothing I could say that would change that. Arguing would only bring more humiliation and pain. And remained silent, refusing to spare another glance at the man in front of me. He did not expect me to react this way. I was cold and detached, as though his words meant nothing to me.
Seems they were right about you. Fine. Stay here and think about what you've done. When I've cooled off, maybe I'll let you out.
He left, and the cell sank back into silence. I pulled out my phone. There was already a reply waiting.
All right. In 3 days, I'll pick you up with my private jet.
Out of our shared blood, we didn't want to be this merciless.
I let out a long breath, letting the faint glimmer of hope wash away the stale, suffocating air of the cell.
Boss asked me to bring you this. Madam, he still cares about you.
To my surprise, everything inside was my favorite. Don't joke with me. No one locks up the person they care about. I gave the lunchbox back to him. This must be from you, not him. I appreciate the gesture, but don't get yourself hurt for my sake. I don't want you getting hurt because of me.
No, really. It was the boss's order.
I shook my head and said nothing.
Madam, don't lose hope. The boss is just blinded right now. I've been gathering evidence.
Do you have a death wish? The walls have ears. If he finds out, you're done for. Randall understood how complicated these family matters could be. Later that night, Bella stormed into the cell. So, you're planning to team up and expose me? You really don't want to live, do you? My parents followed her in. Their gazes were cold and sharp, as though they were looking at an enemy and not their own child.
Out of our shared blood, we didn't want to be this merciless. But to think you'd try to destroy your own sister and tear apart the Quinn family, in that case, we'll show no mercy.
What are you gonna do? Kill me? There are cameras everywhere.
Call the Dawn! Tell them Evelyn stabbed Bella! Now!
Guards scrambled in a panic and immediately ran out. Yet, the pain never came. When I opened them again, my breath froze. Bella was on the floor, and the knife was buried in her abdomen. Blood spilled everywhere.
Bella! My daughter!
My mother's screams echoed off the concrete as my father bolted for the door.
Call the Dawn! Tell them Evelyn stabbed Bella! Now!
Guards scrambled in a panic and immediately ran out.
Dad, delete the footage before they see.
Bella's voice quivered as she reminded him. I lunged forward to stop him. But it was too late.
Bella! What the hell happened here?
Bella said Evelyn was starving. She didn't even change before rushing over with food. The moment she came in, Evelyn grabbed a little knife from the serving tray and stabbed Bella, saying it was all her fault that she should die.
Starving. I thought you refused to eat because you were sulking. But now I see you were just trying to win sympathy before hurting your own sister.
You baby. My little one.
Baby? Maybe we should check the security footage first.
Gideon glanced at me as I trembled all over. Pain ripped through my stomach. My mother cried and shouted.
You can't deny it! We saw it with our own eyes!
Bella came to apologize.
And even said she'd plea with the Dawn in a couple of days to get you released.
Yet instead of being grateful, you actually went and hurt her.
Boss, Madam is still recovering. It's unlikely she could attack anyone. Maybe we should check the security footage first.
Gideon glanced at me as I trembled all over, then turned his cold gaze to the guards.
Go. Pull the footage.
The guards rushed off. Gideon then crouched beside Bella, gently pressing a bandage to her wound. He gently brushed the sweat from Bella's forehead. His voice dripped with tenderness.
Does it hurt? Don't be afraid. The doctor's on his way.
I stared down the empty hallway, holding on to the tiniest flicker of hope. My father had perlure in turrets. When I got kidnapped back then, I was shot twice in the arm and leg. He had barely looked at me, leaving me with a private doctor. He had claimed it was my own fault for standing out too much, that those 2 bullets were a lesson I would never forget. The difference between pretendance and genuine feeling was always in the details. I thought my heart was numb already, but now it clenched in pain once more. I stared down the empty hallway, holding on to the tiniest flicker of hope. My father had not returned. The security footage might still exist. If Gideon could see the truth, perhaps...
This is bad, boss. The footage was deleted.
The last flicker of hope in my heart was snuffed out. 2 deafening shots exploded. Gideon looked down at me with a cold, detached stare.
Evelyn, you really have gone insane. Which hand did you use to stab her?
I did not respond. I did not even have the strength to open my mouth. My body felt lifeless.
Not talking? Fine.
And, without hesitation, pulled 2 deafening shots, exploded
Evelyn, that was your final warning. If you ever hurt Belle again, we're done.
Fine.
My daughter first! See her first!
I've long known my parents play favorites. My sister and I are both their children, yet they treat me as if I were adopted.
This vile woman will only cause more trouble, Don Wade!
You should get rid of her at once.
How can we ever feel at ease while she's still around?
My parents took turns hurling insults. In their eyes, I was trash, a burden, and a disgrace, someone who deserved to die. However, I was their daughter too. When Bella left home, I was the one who stayed behind to care for them. I was the one who took them on trips, who sat by their hospital beds when they were sick, and prayed for their recovery. After everything I did for them, all I got in return were insults.
My daughter first! See her first!
The room fell silent. When I woke up again, the cell was empty. The blood on my body had already dried.
Don Wade, from what I can tell, Ms. Bella might have suffered a miscarriage.
What?
Everyone in the family knew that years ago Gideon had taken a bullet to the abdomen during a gang shootout. The doctor said it left him nearly infertile. I understood everything now. My parents' desperation to make Bella his wife was because she was pregnant. However, why would she risk losing her own baby just to set me up? Before I could make sense of it, Gideon's bloodshot eyes turned to me. There was grief in them, but also bitter, crushing disappointment. How ironic. His voice was hussy when he said,
She killed my child. She'll pay for that. No one is to treat her wounds.
The room fell silent. When I woke up again, the cell was empty. The blood on my body had already dried. Tears streamed down my face. It was not from the pain. I realized the heartbeat that once fluttered inside me was gone. My baby was dead, killed by his own father. I watched him walk away, and I felt nothing. The last thread between Gideon and me is severed. From now on, he's just a stranger. There really was something extra in the box, a few pieces of fish. My body moved before I could think. I had no idea how many days had passed. All I remember was that the guards had brought food twice, and the sun outside that tiny window had set twice. Today, another lunchbox was tossed inside. I did not turn around. The last 2 times, it was nothing but dry, choking bread, and even the water they gave me was cloudy. If I kept eating that, I probably would not survive a 3rd day.
Hurry up and take it.
The guard snapped at me impatiently.
Special treat for you today.
That made me turn around. There really was something extra in the box, a few pieces of fish. My body moved before I could think. I crouched down and started devouring it like I had not eaten in days. The guard let out a mocking laugh.
Look at you. You were once Mrs. Wade, but now you're worse off than a guard like me.
I ignored him and focused on eating. I had to survive.
I had to stay alive until Zarek came for me.
Nothing else mattered. Then, at the very bottom of the lunchbox, I noticed a small folded note. Evelyn, Gideon and I are getting married. It did not take a genius to figure out who had sent the meal. I stared at the words for a long time before tossing the paper aside and continuing to eat. There was no need for Bella to go through all this trouble to get under my skin. The moment I was left to die in the snow in my previous life, I stopped expecting anything from Gideon. Their marriage, whenever it happened, had nothing to do with me anymore. My beloved little sister, who's doted on by everyone, so she's capable of jealousy too. If she knew what I'm about to do next, she'd probably lose all the strength to even smash things. It meant I would have a better chance of escaping.
I doubted Gideon knew Bella had secretly taken me out.
Bella stood there, looking proud and radiant. The little wound on her stomach had already healed, and her complexion was glowing. Clearly, she had been well taken care of.
You're going to witness my wedding with Gideon. You'll see the kind of love he shows me, the love you've never had. We've invited all the elites from every circle. He'll stand before the world and announce that I'm the one he loves. And you, his so-called wife, will only get to watch from afar. I secretly opened Zarek's chat window and shared my location. Leaving the cell was not a bad thing. It meant I would have a better chance of escaping.
I doubted Gideon knew Bella had secretly taken me out.
I once overheard a guard on the phone. The voice on the other end was cold and familiar.
She's still refusing to eat?
The guard had grunt, and Gideon had just heaved a sigh.
Stubborn as always. Just keep sending her the things she likes. Oh, and has the doctor been treating her wounds quietly?
Gideon said a lot. He even sounded concerned.
However, I knew better. He was just afraid I would die too quickly. He did not care beyond that. Thankfully, I don't care about him anymore.
Watching her glowing with excitement only made me feel amused. My husband is going to give my younger sister the grandest wedding. The entire family was working around the clock to prepare. Even those out on missions returned to help. The family had never been this lively before. Everyone was calling Bella Mrs. Wade. It was a title I had once dreamed of in my past life. Only Randall occasionally used it out of habit. The preparations went fast. Bella tried on a dozen wedding dresses in a single day. Each one was worth a fortune. Watching her glowing with excitement only made me feel amused. When she noticed I was not reacting, her smile faded.
Then it was as though something came to her mind. She leaned closer and whispered with a smirk, "Still pretending to be calm? Let me tell you another secret. The baby I lost that day wasn't even Gideon's."
His family is strict about these things. If they were to find out later on, it'd be even worse. Better to get rid of it early, right? So really, I should thank you, my dear sister.
Soon the day of the wedding arrived. My pupils contracted. Everything suddenly made sense. My hand went instinctively to my stomach. Would Gideon ever learn the truth someday? I did not know if Gideon would ever learn the truth, or if he would ever realize that he had caused the death of his only child with his own hands. Don't mention it. I wish you happiness. I smiled and replied to her. She cursed at me, claiming that I was insane. Then she lost interest and walked off. I did not lose my mind. I just no longer cared. Zarek's signal was getting closer and closer on the tracking map. I would be leaving this place soon. Neither Bella nor the parents who gave me life would ever see me again. Soon the day of the wedding arrived, and I found myself outside the venue, watching the scene unfold. I saw Gideon leaning against a tree, smoking one cigarette after another, looking lost in thought. I guessed he was still grieving for the child. After all, he would never be able to have another. If he knew that I had miscarried too, would he feel even a little sorrow for me? I doubted it. He would probably just blame me for not telling him, for not protecting the baby. For a fleeting moment, I almost felt relieved that the child was gone. With a controlling and unloving father like him, that child would never have known happiness. I tore my gaze away and walked inside. Halfway through the ceremony, a deep rumbling sound echoed through the air.
A helicopter! The Shane family?
The guests gasped in surprise. Bella turned to Gideon with surprised and shining eyes. "Gideon, is this your surprise for me?" Gideon looked up at the helicopter, and his eyes darkened. Before he could speak, a rain of money fluttered down from above. The crowd erupted in astonishment, and Randall rushed over.
Don't worry, boss. It's a gift from the Shane family. The Shane family? Zarek Shane?
Randall nodded. Gideon clenched his fists as a trace of murder instinct flashed across his eyes. After all, this was his territory. Zerdek had somehow slipped past every layer of defense. His power was not to be taken lightly. To him, the raining cash was not a gesture of goodwill, but a provocation.
Why would he come? Could it be that...
Unfortunately for him, he missed one thing. Nothing else could get in, but this helicopter could get out. Don't frown, honey, it's our wedding day. Gideon's expression eased slightly. He turned to Randall and instructed,
Tighten the security. Nothing else gets in.
As expected of Gideon, he was meticulous in thought and ruthless in execution. Unfortunately for him, he missed one thing. Nothing else could get in, but this helicopter could get out. The helicopter landed on a mountain ridge, and Zarek slowly stepped out of a cabin. Seeing my hands bound in bandages and my frail, weakened body, his eyes darkened with a sudden chill. The next second, he lifted me into his arms and carried me back into the helicopter. I clutched his collar and whispered, "I'll repay you for this one day." He looked straight ahead and answered in a calm and steady voice.
I'll be waiting.
As the helicopter blanes roared to life, I finally let myself breathe. The priest turned to Gideon.
"And do you, Mr. Wade, take Bella to be your lawfully wedded wife?"
The wind grew louder. I could not hear their voices anymore. I took a deep breath and looked toward the rising sun. The warmth of its light wrapped around me. I was finally heading toward freedom. Everything beneath me was nothing but the past now. He tossed the pre-prepared wedding ring to Randall and turned to leave.
If you don't want to marry me, suit yourself.
The groom, do you take the lady standing opposite you to be your wife?
The priest repeated the question. Only then did Gideon respond, almost absent-mindedly.
Yes, I do.
Bella froze for a moment, clearly sensing his lack of focus. However, with so many guests watching, she did not press further and just forced an awkward smile. When it came time for the kiss, Gideon seemed distracted.
He pressed his lips to hers for barely 2 seconds before pulling away. Unable to hold back any longer, Bella yelled at him.
Gideon, do you even want to marry me?
Even her parents, who had been laughing moments ago, looked uncomfortable.
He tossed the pre-prepared wedding ring to Randall and turned to leave.
If you don't want to marry me, suit yourself.
Bella hurried after him, pleading.
I'm sorry, Gideon. I shouldn't have yelled. I'm sorry.
Her humble tone would have softened him under normal circumstances. However, he only wanted to leave at that moment. Since the very beginning of the wedding preparations, a small uneasiness had settled in his heart. When he saw the wedding dress, his first thought was of Evelyn.
This would look much better on your elder sister.
Huh? What?
Nothing.
After all, he had promised her countless weddings before, and had even accompanied her to try on gowns to reassure her.
For a moment, he even remembered the blood-stained scene in her cell and questioned if he had gone too far.
Yet, every time he thought of the child that had been lost and all the schemes, he could not forgive her. Today was supposed to be his wedding, but his mind was consumed with thoughts of checking on Evelyn in the dungeon afterward. Women noticed things.
Gideon, you're not thinking about my sister, are you?
Gideon did not answer, and that confirmed her suspicion.
This is our wedding! And you're still thinking about her? She's the woman who killed my child! How can you do this to the child we lost?
Her cries grew louder, and she clutched her stomach, collapsing to the ground. The sight made Gideon come back to his senses. He scooped her up immediately.
Call a doctor! Someone get a doctor!
Still, Bella grabbed his sleeve.
I won't go. Not unless you send my sister away first.
A flicker of confusion crossed his eyes when he saw how stubborn Bella was. The little sister who had once protected Evelyn was now treating her like an enemy. Was it all just because her child had died? Before he could think further, Bella's parents rushed in.
Bella! Don't scare us! Gideon, you have to cut ties with Evelyn. Bella can't get hurt again. Her body has never fully recovered after the miscarriage. The doctor said she may never be able to have children again.
The cries around them grew louder. Gideon let out a helpless sigh and said,
Fine, I'll take her away.
Gently laid Bella onto a stretcher and said in a gentle voice,
Rest well. Don't get upset.
Then he turned and headed toward the dungeon.
Bella, who was still weak, immediately shot a look at her parents, silently urging them to send Evelyn back to the cell. Gideon had no idea any of this had happened. Though the dungeon was only a few hundred yards from the castle, it took 10 long minutes for Gideon to get there. When he appeared at the cell door, the guard panicked.
Don Wade, why are you here? Do I need to report where I go?
The guard fell silent, too intimidated to speak. Gideon walked toward the last cell. Suddenly, his steps froze. The cell door in front of him was wide open. The woman was gone.
Where is she? Where did she go?
The guard lowered his head and stammered.
Say.
Terrified, the guard dropped to his knees.
The madam was taken by Mrs. Bella. We tried to stop them, but
We couldn't.
Gideon let out a sigh of relief when he heard Bella's name. He was unseen with her recklessness, but at least Evelyn was still around.
Take me to her.
Gideon's voice was cold. He left the dungeon but stopped in his tracks when he saw a group rushing down from away. Gideon paused for a moment and frowned. Leading them was Evelyn's father, Faith Quinn. Gideon's eyes darkened with mixed emotions. His lips parted slightly.
Follow them.
He trailed behind Faith, and as they came near, Bella's furious voice cut through the air.
What? She's gone!
Gideon came to an abrupt halt.
How could you lose sight of a woman? There are 10 of you and you couldn't even keep an eye on her? Useless idiots!
He got closer to the hospital room and froze at the sight of Bella. Her lips were pale, and her body was slightly weak, but her eyes burned with hostility. There was none of the gentleness she used to show. She grabbed a vase on top of the cabinet, smashed it down on the kneeling guard. Blood splattered across his face instantly. Gideon's gaze turned gloomier. These were his carefully trained men. No one besides him had ever dared punish them. A storm of anger surged within him.
Find her, now! She knows the truth about my miscarriage!
Bella's voice softened, but it carried a calculating tone.
Forget it! She was going to be taken away today anyway. Losing her now doesn't matter. Gideon won't mind.
But Gideon is the Dawn. He won't take it lightly if he finds out you sneaked Evelyn out.
I'm not like that bitch sister of mine.
Bella snapped.
I'm the woman he loves most. He wouldn't be cruel to me. I can throw a little charm his way and he'll forgive me for whatever I did. He's nothing to be scared of. He used to act like my little lapdog all the time when we were young.
Little lapdog? He had never imagined that was how Bella saw him. He grit his teeth and left. When Randon saw Gideon storming out with a deathly expression on his face, he asked cautiously,
Don Wade?
Gideon said nothing. He climbed into the car and instructed.
Get 2 things done for me. First, by any means necessary, find the madam within 3 days. Second,
He turned his head toward the hospital window glowing with light.
dig into every move Bella has made over the past 5 years.
Then, he drove off at full speed. The car roared down the road as
Gideon drummed his fingers against the wheel, impatience flickering in his eyes.
in the distance, fireworks suddenly lit up the sky. It was Gideon's grand finale for the wedding. Drones lit up the night sky, spelling out Bella's name. A wave of irritation crept up in Gideon's chest. That shameless woman did not deserve every he had done for her. He slammed the wheel as visions of Evelyn flooded his mind. She had always smiled gently at him. Even as a child, she had never lost her temper.
Even when he and Bella played tricks on her,
She had never complained. Then, he recalled Bella's arrogant tone today, and a thought gnawed at him. Could it be that Evelyn had not lied to him? Sons I hayant dream join redo swimla what you comes. He has to find Evelyn. Gideon tried to convince himself, but Evelyn's face lingered stubbornly in his mind. With a sharp brake, the car stopped on the hill.
Sir? Gideon?
Who's there?
The man stepped out of the shadows,
Don't you remember me?
his head as memories flooded back.
She carried you out of the woods. You were barely alive then. She ran to me crying and begging me to save you.
The old man's words reminded him. Gideon recalled the last battle of his family feud. His own brother had shot him 3 times, once in the chest, once in the abdomen, and once in the leg. He had fallen like a dead dog. It was Evelyn who had found him. There was no signal in the mountains, and he tried to convince Evelyn to give up on saving him. However, she refused. With that small from hers, she bore his heavy body and climbed her mountains and ridges.
blisters tore open on her feet and her shoulder bones cracked.
Yet she never uttered a single cry of pain.
It's okay. I'll get you out of here.
After the old man rescued him, she stayed by his side all night. The moment her eyes fell on the 3 bullets, she burst into heartbreaking cries. It was as though they had pierced her own heart. How could he abandon his angel? As a Dawn, he never trusted anyone, convinced that everyone around him was scheming against him, waiting for a chance to kill him. Yet in her eyes, he saw something real.
That experience was why he proposed to Evelyn.
Where is she? Why didn't she come?
The old man looked at him with a confused look. It was only then that Gideon came weighed out his senses. A sharp pain tightened his chest.
She has some matters to attend to.
The old man nodded without thinking much and bade desist, and patted his shoulder.
I'm really glad to see you again. I've never seen such a strong girl. You must cherish her.
The old man left after he said that. Gideon watched the man leave from behind. There were feelings he could not name swirling within him. Once the elderly man's silhouette had vanished completely, he stubbed out his cigarette and set off. Back at the base, Gideon tossed his car keys to Randall.
Pull up all the surveillance. I want to see it with my own eyes.
Everyone was stunned for a moment. Even in past operations against major drug lords, Gideon had never done things personally. Yet here, for a woman, he was doing just that. Was Evelyn not supposed to be out of favor? Randall stepped forward and lightly tapped a guard's head.
What are you standing around for? Do you want the boss to lose his temper?
The guard rushed off. Randall glanced at Gideon's tense face and put on a faint smile. He murmured,
The Don finally understands his own heart. Shut up.
The surveillance footage is all here, Don Wade.
Gideon took the chip and slid it into the computer. The screen flickered to life, showing Bella's twisted, feral expression. She was dragging Evelyn on out of the dungeon.
I want you to watch me live happily ever after. Then you'll die from jealousy.
He frowned as he fast-forwarded through the footage, until the moment where Bella finally blurted out the truth.
Let me tell you another secret. The baby I lost that day wasn't even Gideon's. His family is strict about these things. If they were to find out later on, it'd be even worse. Better to get rid of it early, right? So really, I should thank you, my dear sister.
Gideon's eyes widened. In the next second, he swept everything off the desk with one violent motion.
That bitch!
The one who lied to him was not Evelyn at all. The footage jumped to the wedding ceremony. He could be heard introducing her to everyone.
This is my wife, Bella Quinn.
Gideon's chest tightened. He instinctively zoomed in, trying to read Evelyn's face. Nevertheless, he was stunned for a moment. There was no expression on Evelyn's face. None of the sadness, anger, or resent he had imagined showed on her face.
No, that's impossible.
Suddenly, a helicopter appeared in the frame, and a man stepped out. It was Zarek. Gideon smashed the computer in a fury. He was the one who took Evelyn. With a grim expression, he roared,
Get the car ready. We leave for the Shane residence in 3 hours. That arrogant bastard actually dares to go after my woman.
His men scattered to carry out the order, leaving him alone in the room. Gideon sank into the couch. His chest rose and fell in ragged bursts, his thoughts spinning out of control.
Damn it.
He muttered under his breath.
Gideon, what's wrong?
Bella had pushed open the door, breaking his thoughts. He stared at her. Bella did not notice the change in his mood.
Gideon, I heard you went to the dungeon. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take Evelyn away. I just wanted her to attend our wedding. After all, she's my sister. I didn't think she'd escape.
Tears streamed down her face as she spoke, and she looked utterly pitiful. However, the next moment she froze.
Honey?
Old laugh.
You're not my wife.
Guards.
Take her to the dungeon.
No, why? Why are you doing this to me? You just married me yesterday.
Bella screamed, trying to throw herself at Gideon, but the guards pinned her down. Her parents rushed in just in time to see the scene, their eyes wide with horror.
Gideon, what are you doing? It was Evelyn who escaped. Why punish Bella?
They tried to pry the room, sending them to their knees. Calmly, he stared at the three of them like he was the Grim Reaper himself.
Lap bag? Child?
He let out a harsh laugh.
Seems I've been fooled all along. Well then, since we're all here, let's end this together. Take them away.
Their anguished cries filled the empty room as the guards dragged them out.
Are you going to look for Evelyn?
Yes.
After he gave his instructions, Randall did not leave. He carefully said,
There's one more thing, boss. Speak.
Gideon replied impatiently.
It's about Madam. She's pregnant.
What?
Gideon shot up, his eyes wide open.
When? Why didn't the family doctor tell me?
Madam insisted on keeping it secret. She said it was for the baby's safety.
At that moment, it felt as though a massive boulder had crashed down onto Gideon's chest. He could barely breathe. Only then did he realize Evelyn had been pregnant too. And that child had been his. The truth struck him like a bolt of lightning. His blood ran cold. The baby he had longed for, the only child he might ever have, had existed all along. And he had been the one who destroyed it. A chill spread through Gideon's entire body. That child, could it be? He didn't dare let the thought continue. The possibility alone was enough to make his blood run cold. For the first time in years, panic gripped him completely. He had to find her. He had to bring Esselyn back. I finally arrived in Denomia. I chose this place not only because Gideon had no power here, but also because it was once my dream. I wanted to be a battlefield doctor. After I married Gideon, he would not let me work. He said other people would get close to me, and that would put him at risk. Even though I never graduated from medical school, the years spent at Gideon's side had taught me the essentials of emergency medicine. Those were skills I learned not only to protect him, but to keep myself alive. In Denomia, I had made some friends, and Zarek was by my side. When I thought of him, my feelings would get complicated. He had personally escorted me to Denomia and gave me the best medical care. He even used his influence here to keep me safe. He never said why he did it, but I knew about it and was grateful. Still, I could not help wondering why he was so kind to me. We had only met once. Was it love at first sight? I did not know.
Dr. Quinn, there's another patient!
I rushed out in a hurry and almost tripped in my haste. Zarek grabbed me and helped me up. His voice carried a note of disapproval.
I told you not to move until you've recovered. Why won't you listen?
He scooped me up and carried me back to the aid station.
This is the last time.
I let out a chuckle and ignored him because it was already the third time he had carried me back to the camp. Zarek had a tender heart, despite his sharp words.
What will you do to me if I do it again?
I pushed him away and started removing debris from the little girl's wound. She suddenly grabbed my arm. The little girl blinked at the bandages on my arm.
Did they hit you too?
I hesitated for a second and forced a bitter smile. My husband did. Zarek stiffened instantly. I could feel his stare. It was so intense. His gaze was filled with confusion, anger, and pain. After we left the aid station, he carried me without saying a word. It seemed like he was in a bad mood. He suddenly muttered,
"Idiot."
I smacked him on the head, not even trying to be gentle. Who are you calling an idiot? He let out a cold snort.
Who else? You keep pining for a man who'd shoot you.
I managed a wry smile. Maybe because he's in the mafia. He treats everyone like that. Zarek scoffed when he heard that.
Not me. Even if someone put a gun to my head, I wouldn't point my gun at the person I love.
The sunset that day was beautiful and magnificent, but the only thing I remember was what he said. I found myself looking at his side file. He had a tall nose and sharp eyes. He was handsome. For a brief second, my heart lost its rhythm. I looked up, and our eyes met in the sunlight. Zarek was stunned for a moment. The next moment, he cupped the back of my head, and as though he could no longer hold himself back, he kissed me on the lips.
What are you two doing?
He pulled me protectively behind him, his expression twisting with anger.
You're my wife, and you're pregnant with my child. How dare you be with another man?
Before I could answer, Zarek swung a punch.
You have the nerve to call her your wife? What husband would beat his wife into disability?
It caught Gideon off guard, and he stumbled onto the ground. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. The veins on his forehead stood out in fury as he aimed squarely between my mews. I stared at the cold muzzle of his gun and let out a short, Derietian laugh. Gideon, you haven't changed one bit. However, even with the weapon lowered, that air of arrogance still clung to him.
Come home with me,
Gideon said. Why should I? I shot back.
I'm your husband.
He answered.
Husband?
Zarek scoffed.
Don Wade, I even attended your wedding in person and dropped $10 million in cash as a gift. If I remember correctly, your wife's name is Bella Quinn.
Gideon's fist tightened at his mockery. However, he did not answer him. He turned back to me.
That was just compensation for her losing the baby. But now I know everything. Bella deceived me. I was wrong about you. Come back with me. I'll make it up to you.
His voice was awkward as he humbled himself. I took a few steps toward him. A glint of triumph flashed in Gideon's eyes, while Zarek froze for a moment. I stopped within a foot of Gideon, raised my hand, and gave his cheek a few light taps. Gideon, have you been the Dawn for so long that you think the world revolves around you?
My God.
Zarek immediately stepped forward to protect me, afraid that he would hurt me again. Yet, he did not make a move. He only said in a rush,
That's not what I meant. I just wanted to apologize. I went too far back then. I shouldn't have spoken to you harshly. I shouldn't have locked you up, and I definitely shouldn't have... I shouldn't have shot at you.
Everyone was taken aback, myself included. I did not expect a real apology from him, and definitely not in such a servile manner. For a moment, I saw the 18-year-old version of him. Before he became the Mafia Don, he was just a normal boy. He was not the distant, untouchable person he became. Back then, whenever his teasing went too far and brought tears to my eyes, he would kneel before me and soothe me with gentle words. Seeing him like this stirred something complicated in me.
I don't know what you found out or how much you truly know, but I'm not going back with you.
No!
Gideon almost reflectively protested. He looked toward the combat zone in the distance.
It's dangerous here. You can't stay. And you're carrying my child.
His child? In that instant, I understood why he had changed. It was all because of the child. It was his only hope now. Unfortunately, he had crushed that hope with his own hands. I looked at him and muttered, word by word, Gideon, your child is dead.
What?
Gideon froze instantly. He immediately looked down to my belly, and it was completely flat.
No. That's not possible.
He lowered his head and muttered, his eyes reddened to the point of bleeding. In a heartbeat, he had my shoulders in a furious grip.
How could the child be gone? Did you do it? Evelyn, do you hate me that much?
My disgust only deepened when I heard his hysterical shout.
I did it? This child's death? It was you. It was their father who killed them with his own hands.
No child could survive what I endured in that dungeon.
Gideon was dumbfounded. I brushed past him and turned to Zarek. Can you carry me back? I can't walk anymore. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded with a smile. Instead of just carrying me, he scooped me up around the waist. Gideon rushed forward immediately, but a dozen armed soldiers blocked him. He had forgotten that this was Zarek's territory in Denomia. All he could do was watch the man he despised carry the woman he loved away. Zarek deliberately bumped his shoulder while walking past. You did that on purpose, didn't you? I turned to look at Zarek. He hummed.
Who told him to interrupt our kiss?
My cheeks flushed when I heard that. I was so lost in the moment that I did not notice the trees from a short distances away was shivering violently, and its leaves rained down to the ground. It was as though someone had kicked it hard. Driven by jealousy, Gideon ignited a war between mafia families.
Wait for me.
This time I'll bring Gideon's head back for sure.
I begged Randall to come with me to rescue Zarek. The moment we snuck into the villa, we saw raging flames engulf holding Zarek.
Madam, it's too late. If you go, there's no...
I screamed, but the fire was spreading too fast.
Damn it!
The car screeched to a stop on the roadside. I was in too much pain to move. I said in a soft voice,
Go. Just leave me.
Before he could respond, someone pushed him aside.
You go first. I'll protect her.
It was Gideon. His white shirt was burned and tattled at the hem. His face was streaked with blood and scode.
But I said go. But, boss.
Randall gave us a long, meaningful look, then turned around and left the waist and ran toward the distant mountains. His sweat dripped onto my face, drop by drop. The night was pitch black. He could not see the path clearly, and the brimbles along the roadside tore at him, cutting his flesh. Yet he did not make a sound. Every so often he would glance down at me.
Don't be afraid. We'll be there soon. You'll be fine.
Like we had returned to that night when I carried him to escape. Back then I clenched my teeth and comforted him when he was near death. Our relationship. Suddenly, lights appeared in the distance. Gideon's eyes lit up.
I'll take you to it.
Gideon said excitedly.
Where are you taking my wife?
A male voice called from a distance. My pupils widened. That voice. It was Zarek. While clutching my aching stomach and ran toward the blurry figure. He drew closer until I finally fell into his familiar embrace.
It's really you. It's really you.
I caressed his face, overwhelmed with emotion. Gideon stood frozen behind me, watching it all in disbelief.
How are you here?
He quickly realized what had happened.
This was your trap? You set the...
Zarek let go of me and gave him a cold stare.
Yes, it was me. Gideon, everyone says you're smart, but I think you're unbelievably stupid.
He did not explain further and just gestured behind him.
Take him down.
In an instant, a dozen men appeared from the shadows. Gideon reached for his gun. However, he was dung-bounded. There was no gun in the holster. Then, a figure stepped out behind Zarek.
Were you looking for this?
Him with disbelief in his eyes, then finally gave a mocking laugh.
So it was you.
Gideon was captured. He was thrown into a sealed, heavily guarded cell. Just behind bars, and I tossed the lunchbox in front of him. He barely looked at it. Clear he would not eat. If you won't eat, I'll feed you myself.
You're ruthless.
Gideon shoveled the food into his mouth. I learned from the best. When he was done, I took...
Why don't you just kill me?
His voice came. I don't kill for love or hate on a whim, and I'm not heartless like you. It should have meant something. But you let me and our child die in the snow.
Die in the snow?
I just turned around and walked. I looked at him helplessly. Don't worry. It's just the beginning. Over the enemies everywhere on both sides of the law. Now that he was locked up and his family was...
Mr. Shane, someone outside is causing a scene, crying and yelling to see Madam.
I never thought I would encounter parents again, and I certainly did not expect them to be in such a horrific state.
Evelyn, we were wrong. Please, please save us!
That was when I learned what had happened and ended up dead one night. With her gone, my parents had no one left to rely on. They had lived off me for years and could not fend for themselves, so they came to seek my help. It was the first time I saw her crying for me.
Evelyn, we were too greedy before. It was our fault, but we were only trying to survive. Can you forgive us? Please, help us.
Help you? Help a mother who schemed against me countless... If you hadn't flaunted the title of the Don's wife everywhere, no one would have targeted you, and instead of facing them, you took it out on me! Since I was little, you spoiled my sister and I blurted it all out in one go. I was so overwhelmed, ached slightly. Guards seized them, and my parents broke down, sobbing hysterically. I turned my back, unwilling to look at them again. Scenes from both lives flashed through my mind. I remembered that Christmas vividly. I stood there as they carried my sister onto the helicopter. It was a scene that remained etched in my memory to this day. My eyes reddened chest.
Don't cry. I'll give you the perfect, happy family.
The day
You spared me, and in doing so, you've given me another chance to take you back.
Zarek, however, session went dark.
You won't get that chance. I always settle my scores.
The guards later said Gideon staggered back to his family's residence drenched in blood, but no one recognized him. Hence, he pushed aside his tangled hair to reveal his face. The guards were stunned for a moment, giving Gideon the chance to step inside.
Are you blind? I'm the Don!
The Don? Our Don is Randall Lane. You were expelled long ago.
Randall Lane?
He never expected Randall to become the new Don.
How is he the Don? He's a traitor!
However, no one believed him. They thought he was delirious and talking nonsense.
Finally, after a brutal beating by the guard, he was thrown into the forest not far away.
It rained hard that night, but the water could not wash the blood from his body. 5 years ago, he had lain dying in that same jungle. This time, there would be no girl coming with a flashlight and calling his name. My words from back then echoed in his ears. Voice was barely above a whisper.
Evelyn, I'm sorry.
Zarek told me how Gideon had been lately. Gideon survived the night in the jungle. He sold his watch and stitched his wounds. However, the delayed treatment had left him permanently disabled. He tried to start over, but his old enemies barred every business attempt. With Zarek quietly undermining him, survival itself became a struggle. I assumed it was only a matter of time before news of his death reached us. Still, I did not expect it to come on the day I gave birth. My parents, already driven mad, murdered Gideon. They came to my door, claiming to have avenged me.
Evelyn, didn't you hate him? We've punished him for you.
My mother sobbed as she spoke. I let out a long breath. I don't hate him anymore. And I won't help you. You will never be forgiven for the past. I looked at the guards and signaled them to drag them away.
You might want to know, I didn't fall for you at first sight. I planned this for a long time just to get close to you.
He had been eyeing Gideon for a long time, aiming to take over his family. So he compiled a wealth of information. In a gang conflict video, he saw a young woman weaving through the wounded, tirelessly helping them.
Madam, I'm just a guard. You don't have to save me.
Who do you mean Matt is just a guard? You can't die. Despite her small size, her words carried such command. He could not take his eyes off. That was why Randall had always sided with me. No wonder the cool, reserved man, Zarek, had been so forward when we first met. It turned out the whole thing had been a trap set for me. You're getting harder and harder to read. He returned my smile and laced his fingers with mine.
That's fine. You've got a lifetime to figure me out.